Hi everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome back to Your Financial Journey. So for many of us, the school year is starting. Personally, I'm still in high school, but I've already started preparing for college, and alongside extracurriculars and testing, that includes preparing for my future financial situation. For many, college is the first place where you really learn to become financially independent and responsible, like it or not. But what exactly does that entail? Today, we'll be going over the 7 best tips and advice for college students and aspiring high schoolers on how to become financially independent. Because the earlier you start, the more time your money will have to grow. So let's talk about the ways that you can become financially self-sufficient, make money, and grow wealth as soon as possible. Let's go! For me and a lot of my friends in high school, it's hard to imagine financial self-sufficiency because most of the time we don't directly deal with our finances, bank accounts, credit cards, and etc. But when we go to college, we'll need to start to make that shift to become more financially independent. But what does that even really mean? Well, there's no one set meaning, but for the purpose of this video, we'll define it as being able to deal with your own money, understanding and organizing your own finances, and managing your own accounts, instead of relying completely on, say, your parents. So let's start with the first and maybe most important step of financial self-sufficiency, opening your own personal bank account. There are many different banks to choose from, so what you'll want to look out for as a beginner is a bank that operates in your region and that offers no or very low monthly fees, no minimum balance, as well as a user-friendly mobile app or online platform. Some banks even go the extra mile to be student-friendly and offer accounts designed specifically for students, which sometimes include perks like waived fees, free online banking, or incentives like a sign-up bonus. Some of the banks that are often considered the most student-friendly are Chase Bank, which has the special student-exclusive Chase College Checking, or Bank of America's Advantage Safe Balance Banking Account, which has no monthly fees and mobile banking. These are just 2 of the most well-known student banks with a national presence though, and there are a plethora of options that you can choose from. Personally, I recently signed up with one of my hometown banks, Apple Bank in New York, for their Smart Start Savings, which has a 6% yield savings account, one of the most competitive rates on the market right now. If you'd like to explore this option, check out this video here from my sister Ava on why we chose Apple Bank and how you can set up your Apple Bank account step by step. Once you've chosen your bank, you need to actually open your account. Most banks offer a quick and easy way to sign up on their online website, where you just have to fill out some information, upload documents, choose your account type, in this case the one catering towards students, and other steps which will be listed on the website. Alternatively, you could visit a bank branch in person. This can be helpful if you have questions, want to get to know the people at the bank, or need immediate assistance, like if you want to buy a money order or need a rush on your debit card. And that brings us to our second point for financial independence, getting a debit and/or credit card. So the basic difference between a debit and a credit card is that the debit card directly withdraws money from your bank account, whereas a credit card borrows money that you have to repay after a while, often with interest. The choice is fully up to you, but many students opt for getting both types of cards. For example, a debit card for cash withdrawals and a credit card for convenient online shopping. Debit cards are usually free and come as standard when you open a student checking account. You could also go in person and request one at a local bank, if you wish, or request one online that will be mailed to you. As for a credit card, you usually have to apply for that separately, instead of just requesting one like with the debit card. You don't need to choose a credit card from your bank. You can choose it from a separate provider, but it may be easier to get one if you already have a bank account set up with that provider. A credit card requires a separate application because the bank will want to run a credit check, including proof of income or student status. But assuming you're applying for a student credit card, the process is often a bit less strict, even if you have no credit history yet. If you want a deeper dive, our videos here walk you through the differences between credit cards and debit cards in detail, as well as how to get your first credit card. I've linked both of them in the video description below for you. So that's the path to your very own debit and/or credit card. But to make good use of your new cards, of course, you need a source of money. Now, as a student, your parents may still be supporting you, in which case you may have enough money that you don't need to work yourself. However, if not, finding a part-time job from openings in your local area can be a way to get a stable, steady source of income while in college. And even if you are supported financially by your parents, getting a job can supplement that income. Of course, keep in mind that you'll be balancing studying and schoolwork with your job. Now, with all of this money, you'll probably be spending it. And that brings us to our third point, budgeting. Budgeting is the basic building block to becoming financially knowledgeable and independent. Creating a budget, no matter how simple, helps you track income. For example, your part-time job, parental support, financial aid, and expenses, for example, your food, books, and rent, to avoid overspending and build savings. So, what is the best way to budget? There are many different techniques to budgeting, and you can research which works best for you. But one simple and effective budgeting tactic is the 50-30-20 rule. You take your income and then split it up with 50% for your needs, for example, rent and groceries, 30% for your wants, for example, dining out and entertainment, and 20% for your savings or debt repayment. You could also tweak this formula and use 20% for your wants and 30% for your savings. You can even set up automatic savings payments from your checking account, where you deposit your money to a savings account. You can start as small as $10 to $15, because if you're consistent with your savings, then it will grow quicker than you think. By saving, this can help you build emergency savings in case something happens, like if you have to unexpectedly pay for your car repairs. It'll also help you save up money for your future, which is always nice to have. You can also save for a specific goal in mind, like a vacation or post-graduation goal. Another very important thing to keep in mind as you embark towards financial independence is our fourth point today. Avoid overdraft fees and debt. So what is an overdraft? Essentially, it's when you spend more money than you have, thus overdrawing the amount of money you spent. Often, a transaction might just be declined if you don't have the money in your account, but sometimes a bank will cover the overdraft, essentially lend you the money, but charge an overdraft fee afterwards. These overdraft fees, usually $30 to $50, can be costly on a tight student budget. And of course, you'll always have to repay the overdraft as soon as possible. To avoid overdrafts and the fees that may be associated with them, it's as simple as regularly checking your account balance, daily or weekly, so that you always know how much you have left to spend. You can also keep a buffer in your account, like making sure you never have less than, let's say, $20 or $50 or $100 in your account to avoid overspending. In the same vein, another thing to avoid, as much as possible, is debt. Of course, there's one form of debt that may be unavoidable for students, and that is student loans, but since that's for your education and a more long-term thing to deal with, we'll focus specifically on credit card debt in this video. As we learned before, a credit card allows you to borrow money from the issuer when you swipe it, which you must then repay. If you repay the outstanding balance on time every month, the credit card issuer will normally not charge you any interest. In fact, you might even earn bonus points or even some cash back on the amount. However, if you don't pay the full amount every month because you either forgot or spent too much, then you'll be hit with high interest rates on these unpaid balances, which can lead to serious debt issues. Credit card debt can spiral into substantial amounts quickly thanks to the usually high interest rates. For example, with a 20% interest rate for a year, a $100 unpaid balance can grow to $207.36 within 4 years if you keep a balance outstanding for your college years. In the end, of course, you'll have to pay it all back, and even more if you continue to put it off. It's also important to avoid debt because it harms your credit score, which we'll discuss in a second. So, to avoid credit card debt, it's pretty similar to what we've said about avoiding overdrafts. Check your account balance, always make sure you're not spending more money than you have on your credit card, pay off your full balance every month, and keep a buffer in your account that you cannot go under. This way, you'll remain credit card debt-free. Now, the fifth thing we'll be talking about is very important to your future, building good credit. So firstly, what exactly is credit? Your credit is shown by a credit score, with a high credit score meaning that you can be trusted to pay back all your loans and mortgages in full. So the higher the credit score, the better. You can sign up for free credit monitoring, such as with Credit Karma, to track your credit score. Your credit score is the accumulation of your financial decisions, meaning the more financially responsible you are, the higher your credit score will be. Among other things, ways to improve your credit score includes paying on time, every time, so for example, paying the full credit card amount balance used monthly, keeping credit utilization below 30%, so basically not spending more than 30% of your credit card's total availability at any time, and being consistent and patient, because keeping accounts open over time improves your credit score as well, and starting early builds a longer history. Of course, these are only a few steps, and there's much more to building your credit score. But in general, being financially responsible, keeping track of your funds, and not overspending will help. Starting as a student helps build your credit history early, and this credit history is essential for your future. Good credit allows you to rent an apartment, get a car loan, and even buy a house. Starting to build good credit now will only help you in the long run. Check out these videos here if you want to learn more about building your credit history, protecting your credit scores, and paying off debt. Tip number 6 may seem simple, but it is essential to protecting your finances. Financial scams often target students in particular, and this can seriously harm you. So, enable two-factor authentication, never share your bank account or debit card information, and use strong passwords. Consistently check statements in your bank account so that you can spot unauthorized transactions. In general, just be uber cautious when it comes to your finances. Finally, our 7th and last tip is to slowly but surely become ever more financially literate by continuing to learn more financial concepts. This is just the first step into a world of complex knowledge, and the more you learn now, the easier it will all be to navigate your money when you step out into this world. It's easy enough to spend a few minutes every day or week reading beginner-friendly articles or watching YouTube videos. Learning about concepts like annual percentage yield, APY, mutual funds, ETFs, taxes, and more will help prepare you for the future. Of course, you don't have to go crazy. More knowledge will come with time. But by focusing and learning about one topic at a time, little by little, it'll make things easier later. So, what do you think about these tips? Were you surprised by any of the recommendations, or did you expect them? Drop a comment below and let us know, and make sure to like and subscribe if you learned something new or found some of our tips helpful. And check out this video here if you want a deeper dive into the 8 millionaire money habits that our parents instilled in us from a young age. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.